Donald Trump has been used to dominating the polls, but today he's taking second place in one state. According to a new Monmouth University poll, Ted Cruz is #1 in Texas. He currently has the support of 38% of likely Republicans. Trump is 15 points behind at 23%. Marco Rubio is a close third with 21%.
In Florida, however, the billionaire is dominating Marco Rubio on his home turf. Trump has 44% of Republican support in the Sunshine State. Rubio has 28%. So let's get to CBS News political editor Steve Chaggaris to talk about these numbers. So there's been a lot of talk about the candidates and how important it is for them to win in their own state. First up for that challenge, that contest, is Ted Cruz in Texas on Super Tuesday. Texas has a lot of delegates up for grabs there, but it's proportional. So winning, winning a portion of the delegates is good, but I don't know if it's enough to really make a huge difference. But let's talk about this. Can Ted Cruz feel comfortable in Texas that he will probably win?
Well, so there are two polls this week that show him ahead, and there are other polls that we don't trust as much that show it a little closer. You can never be too sure. Trump has shown, at least in the first 4 contests, 3 of which he's won, that he has a lot more strength, I think, and a lot more broad strength than we thought he would. He's winning. He's been winning among different demographics that we didn't think he'd be winning with. What Cruz is doing in Texas, at least according to this poll that came out today, is he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is really speaking to conservatives. He's ahead among conservatives. He's ahead among people who are out there voting early. Texas has early voting, and this is his home state. You mentioned these guys have to win in their home states. It would be an embarrassment, and the storyline would be just so negative if a person who is representing a state in the Senate, for instance, Ted Cruz in Texas, doesn't win that state in the primaries. It would just be devastating to lose. And so Cruz is doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is leading pretty big, at least in this poll, and leading among the people that he's really been wooing, which are conservatives. And so, that's a recipe for him that's good. The problem with this, though, is that there are a dozen states that are voting on Tuesday, and if this is his only win, he still has to make a big argument to Republicans about continuing forward and what his path is moving forward in terms of winning states and delegates. So, he may have one big win in Texas on Tuesday, but we'll see how he does in the other states.
Yeah, and you talked about he's doing what he's supposed to do, and we've had a lot of conversations about expectations. If he's expected to win, does he have to win big time in Texas for it to be considered anything significant? Like, can he just eke through?
I mean, it's his home state, right? So if he doesn't win easily, then there are going to be a lot of questions raised. So we just have to see what like I said, this is a 15-point lead right here in this poll. I think that's about right. Maybe 10, whatever. It shouldn't be a contest for him. This is the state that he's currently representing in the Senate. You look at the poll, the other poll that you showed from Florida that has Rubio down to Trump. I mean, I just don't see how if you lose big to somebody in a state that you are currently representing in the Senate, or in the case of John Kasich, who is down 5 in a recent poll to Trump in Ohio, the state that he's currently governing, I just don't see what argument you can make to Republican voters and to the Republican Party to say, I should be your nominee, even though I can't even win the state that I'm currently representing.
Steve, let's talk about Florida. So Trump, in this new Quinnipiac University poll, he's leading Senator Marco Rubio 44 to 28%. Does Marco Rubio need the endorsement from Governor Bush before that primary?
I think he needs to do a lot more than just get endorsements at this point. You dig into this poll and you see why Trump is leading. So first of all, he's leading among conservatives. He's leading among evangelicals. He's leading among Tea Party voters. He is leading among people who say the economy is the most important issue for them. He's leading among those who say the terrorism is the most important issue. And he's leading among those who say immigration is the most important issue. So pretty much across the board, Trump is leading. So it's not about Jeb Bush's endorsement or whatever endorsement. It's about Marco Rubio making an argument to Florida voters. By the way, I'll say it again, the state that he is currently representing in the Senate, that he is the right person to be the nominee for the Republican Party. And if he can't do that and he's down 16 points to a guy who's from New York, who's a billionaire, and they think would be better on those issues, then there's not much of an argument for him to move forward, at least. So we'll see what happens. We see he's got a couple of weeks to tighten this up. They don't vote until March 15th in Florida, so we'll see what happens.
So keeping that in mind, the people in Florida are going to be watching the outcome of Super Tuesday. I'm wondering, in your experience, can the outcome of a previous contest, maybe a big day like Super Tuesday, can that have an impact on the states that vote later, like Florida?
Sure, and that's going to be part of Rubio's problem. Is if he loses, comes in second or third in all of these states or most of the states on Tuesday, then that's 2 weeks now of him saying, okay, I've lost everything, but I should start winning now. And folks in Florida, you need to vote for me. I'm the best choice to be your nominee, even though I haven't won anything to this point. He needs to start winning, and so he needs to start winning as soon as possible. March 1st is the time to do that. But as we discussed, Cruz has a big lead in Texas, and Trump is looking like a solid victor in some of these other states on Tuesday. So where is Rubio going to change the storyline between now and March 15th, and how is he going to convince people in Florida that he should win in his own home state? He's already down in this poll 2.5 weeks out.
Steve, before you go, let's ask you about the Democrats. We see Hillary Clinton campaigning in South Carolina. Is it surprising she's still there, considering she's so far ahead in the polls?
Well, it is the next up race, and then Super Tuesday comes up, and she's ahead in a lot of, or at least the sense is she's ahead in a lot of the states coming up on Tuesday. I think she's really trying to make a statement on Saturday to suggest that her strength is broad-based. It's not just about slices of the Democratic electorate, but it's broad-based among African Americans, among white voters, among women, among men, among all ages. And so I think there's a little bit maybe of trying to run up the score in South Carolina to say, hey, look, I'm the real deal here. Bernie Sanders is only appealing to certain sectors of the Democratic Party, but I can win across all these demographics. And I think she's just looking at Saturday to try to prove that, and then she'll move forward, try to take that momentum moving forward into Super Tuesday. Sanders, for his part, by the way, knows he's not going to win South Carolina, and so is already starting to campaign in the Tuesday states to try to really sort of salvage what's going on here. He needs to start winning again in order to make an argument that he has a chance of being the nominee.
Yeah, indeed. He's in Ohio right now. Steve Chaggaris, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, stick with us tonight. We'll have full analysis before and after the debate starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's right here on CBSN.
And remember to tune in to CBSN this weekend for coverage of the South Carolina Democratic primary race. We will bring you the results as they come in. That's Saturday.
Then next week, hundreds of delegates are on the line for both the Republicans and the Democrats as voters in several states head to the polls on Super Tuesday. CBSN will have analysis all day and keep you up to date on the vote count as it comes in. That's this upcoming Tuesday on CBSN.